Let me say just a couple of things about what we've been talking about in advertising and design. Part of it is to step back and think about what does advertising and design, what do we offer that you may not find elsewhere on campus? Frequently, you find analysis, which is we analyze, identify a problem, and that process stops. Or there's creativity, but it's not problem-based. So what we're looking at doing is looking at both the way in which advertising design is a form of creative problem solving and also creative problem finding. So it has to find a problem and then find ways to solve it. And that, while we are focused currently on business problems, there may be possibilities to expand that thinking process to apply to a variety of social issues as well. Then we want to step back and say, all right, if it is about creative problem solving, what are the intellectual disciplines involved? What's involved there? And so one is empathetic ethnography, understanding the user or the consumer's life, not the role of the product, but what's the problem that they're facing, and what is a product or a way of solving that problem. Maybe it's a new product that should come into existence. For example, when Alan Kamen was the man who created the Segway, was watching someone in a wheelchair and realized they can't reach counters, and so he created a wheelchair that could actually stand up and allow them to see as if they were standing. So he didn't try to produce another thing that existed, but looked at the consumer or the user's problem to see what could be solved. So the first part then is thinking about how to use ethnography to identify problems. The second part is how to use creative thinking and the theories around that, and to develop help students think more creatively, because I think universities frequently don't do that. So let's give students creative thinking tools growing out of a lot of the theory around creativity. And then also, then to begin to apply that to solve problems. So as I think Dan was saying, to create an experimentation place. So you give people the understanding of how to conduct research, identify problems, how to then think creatively to solve those problems, and also to use technology not as a problem-solving tool, but by understanding, what technology is capable of, is beginning to understand the science behind it, to think what could we create that we don't have currently. So you give people those broad theoretical approaches, and then you create an experimentation place where this can be applied to solve existing problems. As we understand, how do brands build communities? What's involved in an online community? How does that differ from another one? What are people looking for from those communities? How can we provide those opportunities? How can products and business problems provide consumers with functional tools that actually benefit them and not just sell them something? And finally, if you take this thinking, which we're calling design thinking, which comes out of the Stanford D School, you can apply that to a variety of social issues, so that the people that are involved in service learning, for example, and other areas could come in for a certificate which you would show them how to identify problems and then think creatively about solutions. And that would again be an interdisciplinary approach in which people from business and advertising and design would work with people in the social sciences or in the service learning program to help create people who have the skills to help society address some of the larger issues they're facing. So we see what we're doing as not only something that relates to business issues, but has a larger purpose that may fit into a larger university mission as well.
My name is Jackie, and I'm a journalism graduate student. These are the tables for the journalism graduate students. So you jumped on board, don't sink the ship. I guess I'm a little concerned over hearing about not having, I came to study journalism. And journalism has a definition. And if you call it information school, like, you go to Westwood College for that. I don't go to a university. And we're being really ambiguous, and I understand that this is the beginning of a process, but I'd like to cut through a little bit of the ambiguity here. Nobody really wants to stick their neck out. I understand that. But, I mean, the fact that technology changes is a problem that everyone faces. I mean, what's the Missouri School of Journalism doing? What's Arizona doing? What's Columbia doing? What does our computer science department do? It changes all the time. It's not a new thing. I mean, what have we been doing for the past 15 years? Other people have had this problem. So are we looking into what they're doing? I hope so. And also, how are we, as far as curriculum goes, I mean, do you have any ideas on how you're going to make me a better journalist? 'Cause I'd like to hear them. It sounds like a lot of research classes and a lot of media studies classes, which is great, but it's not what really boils down, in my opinion, to journalism. That's what I'd like to hear you talk about.
So let me say a couple things. So there's no doubt about the university's commitment to continuing to teach journalism. Everybody up to the Board of Regents has made that commitment. We right now continue to deliver the current curriculum in journalism to all those students, and the students that entered in the program are guaranteed to be able to complete their programs. What this process is engaged in is a very large conversation, but there are more particular conversations focused around issues within journalism, though as a number of people have spoken to, Tom and others, what we don't want to do is we're trying to avoid the isolation of various parts of the university's community. This community that across the board is engaged in interdisciplinary work, and it enriches the lives of our students and the work of the faculty. And what we're looking for is the opportunities here. I'll let the individuals here, if they wish to, address the issues of curriculum, but that's a little bit still, the actual curricula we're going to be offering is a little bit still down the road. But I think it is a relevant question about how we're thinking, and I think people have already begun addressing it to an extent, is how are we imagining the future of the teaching of journalism. One thing that I think is clear is we're not going to teach it over in a siloed program sitting on the edge of campus, that we're going to bring the students and faculty in journalism into a larger conversation where we're talking about journalism alongside other kinds of practices with which it has deep affinities. Somebody may think about themselves as a print journalist, and someone may think about themselves as a documentary filmmaker, and they may be trained in very different places in the campus, but their goal is the same, which is to bring quality, factual information to the public, to inform the public, to do a better job of informing the public. So to split out these kinds of practices hasn't necessarily been the most useful way to approach some of these issues. But the groups that are more focused on this may have something to say, or again, at this point, they may have nothing to say. But the students in the room should know that what you're doing is decided. We're delivering you the program that you signed up for. That's the contract we make with all of our students. Obviously, if we develop cool new things along the way, you'll be invited to participate them in as well, but you're not going to be forced to participate in them.